who have engaged in some economic sabotage of this airline. Why can't you arrest them, Dibal? Because you are the government of the day. This is not a time for the UDA government to start lamenting that, you see, we have found KQ mismanaged and all this. Take action. If you have people to go to court, we want to see them taking plea even tomorrow. If you need to name cartels, name them. You are the government of the day. You really have the powers to tell even the Auditor General tomorrow or even today, go in and do an in-depth audit on the operations of Kenya Airways and give us a report. You can tell the DPP to move in and arrest if there are people who have been involved in any economic sabotage of that airline, so that you give us a solution as a government. And I've said this, and I want to repeat the bar. If Kenya Airways was to go under, we are not going to talk about the managing director, Alan. We'll look at UDA administration as one that is unable to manage strategic economic ventures that this country has gotten into. So fix it, and if you are unable, then you are unable to manage this country.
All right, let's wind up on it. Then we go to the SGR billions. Yusuf, you had something to say, especially with the shares. 48%.
No, yeah. Kwanza nilikuwa nataka kuwapa pole wa ndugu zetu wa Tanzania. Ajali ya ndege ya abiria ya Precision iliyosababisha vifo vya watu 19 ni jambo la kusikitisha, na tunawapa pole kwa msiba mkubwa uliopata na majonzi, na nataraji kwamba watakuwa na fursa ya kulichunguza na kuhakikisha kwamba ajali kama hizo hazitatokea au zitapunguzwa sana katika siku zijazo. Coming to the ownership of Kenya Airways, you know, there is information out there in the public domain in which majority of Kenyans think that we actually own Kenya Airways, and I think that is not the case. As Mheshimiwa has just mentioned, the state percentage holding is 48-49%. The 52% is not ours, which means we do not own a majority share holding of Kenya Airways. And this is an organization that is rotten to the core. So we need to know why do we have to bail it all the time? Why do we force the Kenyan taxpayer to carry this burden, when in fact we know that 52% of the airline is not owned by us? KLM and Air France own a significant percentage of it. There are private shareholders, Kenyan private shareholders, unknown, faceless, who own 31% of it. And there have been persistent rumors that the owners of this 31% are the people who manage the Kenya Airways like a puppet from behind and make money out of it. So before we can go any further in trying to help Kenya Airways, it is absolutely necessary to reach the bottom of this crisis, to know who is who. And secondly, without a very clear blueprint, without a clear plan to salvage this organization, this strike will just be another phase in its crisis. It will not be the end. And we have just reached the dead end of it. And I think this strike marks a turning point in Kenya Airways' fortune. It either changes and rises and fixes its problems and turns its fortunes around, or it goes under.
No. And I'm happy about the revelation by the Honorable Mogeni and what if he's saying about 48%. It used to be that where government had serious interest, we used to have 51, not 48. We used to have the controlling shares. In most companies, the government thought they needed to call shots. We used to cede off 47, 46, would retain 52, 51. But now, look at where we are. A situation where if government makes a decision today, the 51% can actually countermand anything we say we want to do. That's the truth. If decisions are made based on the normal board, drama, that's what happened. But the issue is this. So what interest does KLM Air France have in the survival of KQ? Why must it survive? If KLM flies here, Air France flies here, they would be happy to have KQ out of the way. And that's why I still believe that whatever the cost, it's a bullet we must bite. And as he has said, this is the opportunity. Cut off this toxic relationship that has been there for the last 60 years. Cut it off. Have a new beginning. And I agree with the Mogeni here that the government, the buck stops on this matter, on the doors of the government. Because most employees there are Kenyan employees, the investments there are Kenyan investments. I believe that if we look at this issue dispassionately, without sentimentalism, without feeling good about the name KQ, and say that we are here to run a profitable airline. And I can tell you, in this next 1 week, I'm going to be moving a motion in Parliament to ask government to take over KQ 100%. So that then we move forward, knowing where we want to go.
So what's the difference with nationalization and you?
What we are proposing that time,
we've been on that bit before.
What we are proposing that time, if you look at the document that was prepared by the COSING committee, it wasn't just nationalization. That unbundling was supposed to benefit other people, some people. It wasn't going to go 100%. No, these guys are going to remain. These guys, the shadow guys are talking about, were going to be taken care of with some arrangements that were extremely still shadowy. That's why we refused the report. Okay. Yeah, because so many things were not being laid bare for us. But we could also see clearly that the people who we are talking about here, the 50% who are controlling things, who are still intent even after nationalized. We are saying, okay, let KQ yes, then give JKA to KQ, give Kisumu Airport to KQ, give Mombasa to KQ. But we are not being told in that report how much these guys are going to be paid and whether they're going to live anyway. Because nationalizing, but they don't mean that it goes 100%. This year we still be 10, we can take 60.
Percent of the shareholding is actually owned by the Kenya Airways lenders. You know, the banks that have lent to Kenya Airways. The shareholding of KLM is just a meager 7%. So again, even if the government was to take it over, it must begin by paying off the lenders who are controlling the 30% shareholding of Kenya Airways. So it's a problem that is very complex.
But what is better, Senator? What is better? Having a clean start, we agree, yes. How much is it?
But how then did we audit also the bailout money that was given to KQ?
But that's the point.
We should begin there in terms of offsetting all this.
That's the point here, that money comes in.
We need accountability of how, first of all this tranche of money was used, so that if the government is coming again to Kenyans or asking for another bailout of KQ, then we have accountability.
That's my problem, Jabal. Yeah. That every time we are giving a bailout, you know, this cup is empty. You keep on putting in coffee, but you can't see the level rising. Reason is that it's a bottomless pit. It will never arise because you put in steroids, the bag. It has to be, let me use this stupid word, you have to drain this one. Totally. Okay. And then you're going to lift it up.
This one, first I wanted to say pole sana to the people of the travelers from Tanzania. I've used that precision very much. It's a very good, one of the best ones, you know, and it keeps time. They are always, so this was just, I think, bad luck, and we want to say pole to all the people who went through this accident. On Kenya Airways, I want to agree that we need a radical surgery. And I believe that the pilots did not make a mistake. I think they took this strike at a strategic time. The new minister was just sworn in, and he came in and found there is a problem, and this problem, he must deal with it. And as a new administration, they have an opportunity to look at the deeper things that were hidden by the previous administration and give us a solution to the problems.
Thank you very much. All right, but maybe as we're running out, we can't just let it go. Since we have these contractual revelations from Murkomen, which is headline on the front page of the Standard this morning, a very elaborate, of course, comprehensive report there on that contractual agreement. Could we also launch on KQ? And we see some of these shadowy companies that are behind KQ. Who owns them? What is their interest? These contractual agreements, how are they entered? Why is KQ perpetuating this morass that they cannot really fly off from? Why is it on a Mayday call every day that they need money to bail it out? So I think maybe you as legislators, you can come up with the legislation, or I don't know how you're going to put it, so that we have some revelations and investigation task force, now that we have task force on extrajudicial killings. We can also come up with a task force on this as well. I don't know.
Jabal, I think there is what both the SGR and the Kenya Airways have indicated as far as the government involvement is concerned is the lack of transparency, the lack of accountability, the lack of inclusiveness in looking at projects in which public money is involved, taxpayers' money is involved, in which we also the way we loan money. For example, in Kenya Airways recently loaned some money internationally, and the money was guaranteed by the Kenya government, and Kenya Air was not able to pay, which meant the Treasury had to pick the bill automatically. The same thing with arrangements like the SGR and other loans. When the government of the day is not able to pay, there is a national asset that becomes the collateral. In the case of Kenya Airways, there was a plan for them to take over our airports, so that if they defaulted or their loans go to the taxpayer, it becomes a burden for the country. So all of these things point to the fact that these things were done without oversight, proper lack of accountability and transparency. We don't know what we're getting into as far as Kenya Airways is concerned, because we're not privy to the secret arrangements of Kenya Airways. We do not know what happened with the SGR. Similarly, we're now paying the cost of it. So in general, I fully agree that there are some legislations, but we need to maybe strengthen this arrangement so that when it comes to taxpayers' money, that there's a balance and check, there's oversight, and we make sure that we do not get into unfair arrangements that would adversely affect the country.
Right.
So this is very, very clear, I think, from my perspective.
I have a considerable difficulty in understanding, especially how we enter into